Right, I'll call to order the Town of Mount Desert Planning Board meeting for November 12th, 2025. Welcome aboard. And I wanted to first say, I think it's great that we're at a point where in the 10 years as being on the board, we have a full planning board now. We have 5 regular members and the 2 alternate member positions are filled. So all of you out there that are itching to join the planning board, I guess you'll have to wait until someone steps down.
We have one coming up very soon though.
Yes, so we shall see, but right now we're all set. So thank you for everybody that's made that commitment. And with that, I'll make some introductions. I'm William Hanley, I'm chair. We've got Daniel Burke, Ann Dalton, Tracy Loftus Keller, vice chair, Gail Marshall, and Alan Kimmerly. And I don't believe Meredith is joining us tonight, but she also came back on the board. So we're a tight-knit group here. So moving on, first item on the agenda is really the approval of the minutes tonight. We had minutes from the 22nd. That was the Dodge Point project.
I move approval.
Second.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And let's keep going. So item 3 on the agenda tonight.
May I just do something?
Yes.
Because we're being recorded for Heidi, Gail Marshall made that motion, and Alan Kimberly seconded.
Thank you. Our fantastic recording secretary, Heidi Smallage, is not with us tonight. It's her birthday. So just want to be clear and make sure everything's there on the record for her when she transcribes it. So item 3 on the agenda tonight, we have subdivision approval application. It's a public hearing. And Kim, do I have to technically wait?
6:05.
All right, I have to technically wait 2 minutes. All right, there's Meredith. Welcome aboard, Meredith. And so we're just waiting for the agenda item number 3 to start at 6:05. We've got 2 minutes left. Anything you guys want to chippy chat about?
How about the big snowfall?
Yes, the big.
We got that out of the way.
We did. We made it.
And there's a sign over here in the corner for the comprehensive plan meeting that's tomorrow evening at the neighborhood house. 5 to 7, and all encouraged to come and participate and voice your opinions on things, because that's
Like
what
snacks.
we want to hear, is what your stance is on several different topics. So
And while we're talking about public meetings, next Wednesday night at the neighborhood house at 6, the reorganization planning committee will be presenting their proposal to reorganize the school system. And I urge every Mount Desert voter, whether you have children in school or not, to attend that meeting and learn what the proposal is. It will affect everyone. And we should care about the educational system anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, did we get to 05 yet?
one more to go.
1 minute.
We're out of meeting, we're out of meeting announcements. No?
But-
I guess.
Oh, great.
Couple more people. And
Yep.
can you come sign in the people's names that are just coming in the door? Okay.
Yep. Thanks, Sal. Almost there.
I just think about it being quiet.
All right, let's do it. 6:05. Item 3, we have a subdivision approval application. We have a public hearing. This is section This is section 5.13, plan revisions after approval. And what that says is under 5.13.2, applicants for revisions shall submit at least 8 copies of a proposed revision. If the revision involves the creation of additional lots or units or extends the boundaries of the subdivision, emphasis added, a public hearing shall be required. Otherwise, the board shall determine if a public hearing is required. And tonight we have subdivision 002-2025. Owner name is Sidney Roberts Rockefeller. Prospective buyer is Nathan Donaldson and Vanessa Little. Agent is John Witten Jr. of Haley Ward. Location is 15 Bluebell Lane, Seal Harbor. Tax map 4, lot 011-002. Zoning district is Village Residential 2, and the purpose is modifications to a previously approved and recorded subdivision. It's Amendment 3 of the Bicentennial Subdivision, original plan file 24, number 188, recorded December 31st, 1991. Amendment number 1, file 30, number 22, recorded October 16th, 2000, and amendment number 2, file 30, number 145, recorded December 12th, 2001. And I'll first ask if there's any conflicts of interest on this one.
I will disclose that my wife and I are good family friends with the prospective buyers, as are our kids. I know I'm just the alternate this night with no vote, but I wanted to disclose that and see what y'all thought. None here.
I don't have any issue with that.
Okay.
And I should clarify that Daniel and Meredith are currently alternate members. They're not voting on any of the items tonight, and Tracy, myself, Gail, and Alan are the voting members, and not hearing any.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, I'll speak up.
I've heard most of that, but I don't.
I got it. I'll project. So the voting members tonight are Ann, Tracy, myself, Gail, and Alan, and Daniel and Meredith, who's online, are the alternate members. So we have a quorum, no conflict of interest. I think we can get rolling on this one. And before I get into it too, I just want to clarify that, like, tonight, we are just here to review a very specific application, and that's relative to the proposed reproportioning of the subdivision. We're not talking about any of the potential future development of the lots or anything like that, just a very specific task before the board tonight. So just wanted to put that on the table first. And with that, I'm gonna turn this over to the applicant.
Wait, don't have
Oh,
to do
yes. Yeah,
Yep.
thank you. You always get me on that.
So this particular meeting was advertised in the Mount Desert Islander and Bangor Daily News. And a letter dated October 27th, 2025 went out to abutters, and there's a very long list of abutters here. So I think everyone has been given sufficient notice.
Right. And with that, I'm gonna turn this over to I assume Mr. Witten. Would you like to?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold
Hold
on.
on a second.
There's also the Bangor Daily News was October 28th, and the Mount Desert Islander was October 30th.
So it was
I misspoke.
well advertised and abutters duly noticed.
Mhm.
All right. So Mr. Witten, I'm gonna turn it over to you then to introduce the project.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So thank you for having us tonight. I am representative, well, as you said, I'm John Witten Jr. I'm a civil engineer with Haley Ward Incorporated. And we are the representing agent of the prospective buyers of this change in property. Nate Donaldson and his wife Vanessa. And we're here just to talk about a relatively simple amendment to a subdivision that, as you said, was created back in the 90s and has been updated along the way. I'm going to try to share my screen here. And hopefully that works. Are you seeing the subdivision plan?
Yes.
Okay. So I highlighted the lot that we're talking about in red. It was originally listed as, sorry, get it on the Zoom here. Under Emily and Albert Allen, and it was a little over 3 acres in size. This lot has been amended at least once since its original creation, and has obviously switched ownership names and is now currently owned under the Rockefeller name. Who is, Mr. Donaldson and his wife Vanessa are currently under a purchase and sale agreement with Ms. Rockefeller to buy a portion of this property. And I will switch up to the blow up version of this. Sorry. There we go. And so this plan shows the little over 3 acre lot with the boundary out here, down to the corner, and then around these 2 lots, and then out to what's shown as Centennial Way, and eventually over to Wetland Way to finish off. As you can see, Sidney Rockefeller owns this parcel now, and Nate Donaldson and Vanessa Little own property that is directly abutting it and runs along Centennial Lane out to Jordan Pond Road. And but they do not have access off of Centennial Lane with that property. So the proposal is for Ms. Rockefeller to retain a complying house lot around the existing residents and residential buildings on the property, and for Mr. Donaldson and his wife to purchase the remaining land around that, what will be conforming lot, and transfer that ownership basically to an abutting owner. And that would be the change to the subdivision, is the change in ownership of this around 3 acres to be Mr. Donaldson and Miss Little. So that's the change that they are proposing to the subdivision. There are no other changes at this time. There is no newly created access to this property because it is getting combined with property that currently is owned by Mr. Donaldson, that is conforming at this time. So that is, it's really just a change in property and the creation of some new interior lot lines within that property. So I guess that's our presentation, and we're open to questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Mr. Whitten? So, Kim, tonight, are we essentially voting if this is to have a public hearing, or?
Don't even advertise as a public hearing.
So we are-
Extending the boundaries of the previously approved subdivision by merging this land with the Donaldson lot, which is not part of the.
So we don't have to do like what we have done in the past, is determine if this does
No,
require.
because
It's pretty self-evident. Yeah.
previously approved subdivision.
So we are technically here in the public hearing, so I should be allowing the public to comment on this.
To this, yep.
No, relative to this specific application, I'll open this up to any public comment on this application then.
And they state their names.
And please state your name for the record so Heidi can transcribe it properly.
Keith Bodie from Dunbar Road. In order to do this, you're saying that the existing property that Mr. Donaldson owns will be incorporated into the bicentennial subdivision, right? Is that a requirement? Could he purchase this property without incorporating his existing property into the subdivision?
He
Just-
could, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
it would be creating a new lot within the bicentennial subdivision. So regardless, they would have to have a public hearing. But that's not what they want to do. They want to merge it with this lot.
Is merging it a requirement of purchasing it?
No,
No,
So why would they do that?
ask them.
ask right there, Mr. Witten, can you speak to that? Or Donaldson or
It was somewhat unclear to us if it was needed to be part of this subdivision or not. And we thought it was going to be the simpler route to just incorporate Mr. Donaldson's existing land into the subdivision to basically cover everything in a conservative way, rather than removing this property from this portion of property from the subdivision and leaving Miss Roberts' leftover house lot within the subdivision, but not connected directly to the subdivision would be odd. So really, that's the only reason that we chose to have the subdivision be extended into Mr. Donaldson's land.
do you need Mr. Donaldson's land for access into the remainder portion of that lot?
There
If the Donaldson lot wasn't in the subdivision, could you access this lot still?
you can it technically has frontage on Centennial Lane and Wetland Way, and I'm not sure that those are current road names. Those are the names that were on the subdivision plan. So there is frontage for the lot via those two roads. But it's my understanding that those roads are limited. So for access for any new, the land itself could be accessed by potentially vehicle and pedestrians, things like that, with those right of ways, I believe. There, as I remember, there are restrictions on the use and of those roads such that any use of the land would benefit from the frontage that Nate Donaldson's land has on Jordan Pond Road.
May I ask, to the north, to the north of Donaldson's property is a rectangular parcel that Centennial Lane, so-called Centennial Lane is on. Who will own that small parcel after Nate and Vanessa purchased this lot. Is that remain, who owns that now and who will own that after? Can you see what I'm talking about?
The rectangular section around Centennial Lane itself. That's
That's a setback line.
yeah. So there's let me zoom in here. I don't know if you're looking.
Is that,
So this is a 16-foot pedestrian access right of way that was established years and years and years ago.
I'm talking about just to the north of it, that Centennial Lane is actually on. Is that?
Yes, I believe that's a shared right of way with 4 or so lots that are on the north side of Centennial Lane,
Rice and,
and lots closer to the west that are closer to Jordan Pond Road. And the Rockefeller lot currently has access over that roadway as well. So I think there's 4 total lots that have shared access over Centennial Lane. And they own that strip of land together.
and by purchasing this lot, would the Donaldsons and Little acquire a right of way over that as well, or do they already have that?
So one, we have not found any deeded access for Mr. Donaldson's land to Centennial Lane. Again, he will be purchasing some frontage along that private right of way. But that private right of way has a provision on it that says that only 4 single family homes can be accessed by that right of way. So even though he may have frontage on that, it does not represent traditional road frontage, for a conforming lot to actually build on. If that were
So there
in
are
contemplation.
already some or all of those 4 houses that are serviced by that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's already 4 houses that are serviced by Centennial Lane.
Thank you.
Sir,
Eric Stelzman, 25 Jordan Pond Road. Just for my own clarification here. The notice we got was about Bluebell, Centennial Bluebell, is that the same?
James, yeah.
And how many, is there a plan already in place to build houses on these lots?
no, not the board has seen.
The board isn't acting on that because the board has no plans before it for consideration.
So that's another step that would have to take place.
We don't know. Yeah, from our perspective, yes.
If we say yes to this, if you guys say yes to this, and then they come back and they say, okay, now we're gonna put 4 or 5 houses here, does that have to come back to you guys? For
Yes.
review?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Sir,
Steve Baker, Seal Harbor, isn't wetlands way blocked off from access to that property? At least I know it is when I plow it. You can't go through there. Maybe Sydney could answer that.
no,
Correct. I don't believe that it has been built out to its right of way limits. Right, but this represents the end of the property lines. I believe there's probably close to 100 feet anyway of woods between the end of the road and the property line that's shown on this plan.
That used to go up Centennial Lane right through between Albert Mimi's house and Albert Mimi's garage apartment and around. That was a road in and out of there. Now I see it's been blocked off though. That was a circle. Something, but now I see it's been blocked off for some years now.
Okay.
Neely Pugh, resident of Seal Harbor. So when we're looking at your map, which is incredibly hard to see from this far away, if this does go through, is the access to that parcel going to include access off of Wetlands Way and access then to Donaldson's lot? How would,
There is no planned access to this property that's different than it is today. So technically, there is some frontage on Wetland Way and on Centennial Lane due to property lines.
but
but
the
at-
other would be off of wetlands because Centennial has already maximized the utility of that road, correct?
Yes, I believe you're correct.
Okay.
So that's when you say access, you know, I don't want you to think that we're due to this purchase and this amendment that we're doing any road construction or you know, doing anything really different for road frontage here than is already there. And then Mr. Donaldson can, now that, you know, if this property is owned by him on both sides of this line, then he can access it, you know, through his property, whichever way he can do that. If he wants to walk or mountain bike or what have you, he can access the property through his property.
And
What's on Seal Harbor? So if he was granted permission to do this, he could also develop that entire area.
Essentially, yeah.
With housing or whatever. Rentals, Airbnbs, all that.
Well, yeah, potentially any land within the zone that complies with the zoning ordinance can be developed in certain ways. Absolutely.
He wants to develop this and he needs this to be approved so he can develop his property. Is what you're saying. What I'm
No,
hearing. What I'm hearing.
I
Right?
say, understand that approval of this change to the subdivision would only be approval to this change of the subdivision. It may be that any property owner could come before us and then say, here's what I want to do with my land. And then there's the question of whether or not that, as a separate matter, complies with the current land use ordinance and the subdivision ordinance. And that's a whole nother question. Again, which we can't even begin to form an opinion about because we have nothing before us.
But
all,
under the current zoning, if that land were purchased, there would be the potential, if they had access, there would be the potential for X number of housing units based on the current zoning within the town of Mount Desert.
Well, I can't form an opinion about that, but I would say that that would be no different than what the current owner could possibly do. So if that hasn't changed anything, it's different, a different owner. And then
the only thing we're looking at tonight is the reorganization of the lot lines.
Meredith's got a.
Oh,
What's that?
Meredith's got her hand up here, our other planning board member. Welcome aboard, Meredith.
Thanks. I just have a question or an observation, I guess. If the proposal is to merge it with the Nate and Vanessa's lot, why is that lot that it's being merged with not shown on this plan? It's just a little corner of it, but it seems to me that it would be important to have a document that shows the entirety of what we're discussing here rather than only being focused on Sydney's property.
They're on the map.
Yeah, it's on the broader subdivision.
They're on the newest proposed.
Isn't it only the corner? I mean, right, but that's not the entirety of the lot.
Correct, right. So, yeah, we can show, yeah, Mr. Donaldson's complete lot on the new subdivision plan, absolutely.
It just seems like the conversation that I'm hearing, it would be relevant information to see the entirety of the lot. The access and everything else is then you need to see what the access of the lot is, and we can't see the entirety of that lot.
Would it be fair to say that those lot lines run pretty straight out to Jordan Pond Road on Donaldson's property? Do you know?
Yes, there's a small kink in it, you know, 2/3 of the way down. Right where his house basically is now, there's a kink in the lot lines. But yes, in the general sense, it extends all the way along Centennial Lane until it meets Jordan Pond Road.
Can you put that up on the screen? You have that document that you can share it with?
Yeah, let me find that.
You can all be looking at what you're looking at?
Well, I was just going by memory, but I will.
In the second revision to the bicentennial subdivision, is that by any chance shown as lot number 13? Or is that something else? Am I looking at something else? I may be turned around entirely.
On this plan here, it's shown as lot 16.
16?
Yeah, there's only a partial.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was Harry Jordan's land before it was
Right there.
Hendricks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me-
Next to Kevin Smith or Rodney Smith.
Right.
Then Centennial Lane, Harriet, Rodney, the Brook.
It isn't even fully shown on that one.
I think I'm pulling up. Yeah, okay, here it is here on the tax map. Can you see that tax map?
Yeah. But
So this is lot 42 is Mr. Donaldson's property now. And then we would be adding about 3 acres of land behind it.
Why does Donaldson's property where it meets Sydney's property now? That's right there.
Right here.
97 feet.
Oh, how wide is it?
97.54.
No, is it?
Yeah, 97.54 feet.
Can you enlarge that tax map just to make it a little easier for everybody to see? Okay. So the road frontage on Jordan Pond Road is 97. What about the very east end of Donaldson's property,
Where that arrow is.
where the arrow is?
Well, this is where tax maps get a little
Somebody
funky
has
is,
to have a survey showing that full lot, I would presume.
yeah, so on our survey plan and by the deed, there's 97.45 feet of back line on Mr. Donaldson's property. So I think the property line should really be more like this on the tax map.
You got 97.5 on Jordan Pond Road, there's no way that's 97 on the very back end. It's half that. Yeah.
That's what he's saying, in fact,
Well, not only that, but if you look at the abutting,
Over triangle.
What's that triangle?
So who owns the triangle?
No, this triangle here, you just gotta imagine that that orange line is gone. Here, I have this is an old survey of Mr. Donaldson's property. And it shows a 97.5 feet wide, 98.66 at this turning point, and 97.9 feet along Jordan Pond Road. So it's pretty uniform in width all the way from Jordan Pond Road to the back line.
So
And this is many years ago, but and then this is where they meets up with the Rockefeller property on the right side of the page here. So his property extends all the way down Centennial Way until it meets Jordan Pond Road, which is about 520 feet. 536 feet from Jordan Pond Road to the Rockefeller line or the end of Centennial Way.
Ma'am,
So which,
state your name again, please, just for,
November,
thank you.
so he wants, so what's the proposal to change what boundary? That one? So, because he's got a purchase and sale agreement already on the Rockefeller property. But I understand from the newspapers that I've been reading, that's gonna be null and void if he doesn't get this passed today, because he'll have no access to develop that entire area. Is that right? Am I reading into this?
I don't think the board's prepared to. I mean,
No, Mr. Donaldson owns this lot 42 now, today. If he doesn't buy this back piece, this property does not change.
Right.
The lot 42 does not change.
Right.
It's just if he doesn't purchase that property, then it would just stay Miss Rockefeller's property. This lot, and we don't need to then amend the subdivision, but both parties are in an agreement to sell and purchase a land that is directly abutting property that Mr. Donaldson currently owns. And so that's what they're trying to finalize.
Right, but I understood you to say, or somebody to say, there wasn't enough access for him currently to do something with that property, the way it is now. For
Yes.
the 4 homes that were originally put in there, and that's the way that it was written. for that subdivision. Is that correct or am I all wrong? Just tell me. Just call a spade and just tell me. Oh, I don't mind.
That.
Well, I'm not sure.
But hold on a second. He's got to answer that here. So, Mr. Witten, could you?
So I guess I was trying to explain that we're not, with this amended subdivision, we are not creating or changing any access to this property that's within the purchase and sale agreement. And I was trying to be sensitive to the fact that this private road, Centennial Way, has a limitation on its use to 4 single-family houses. And so I didn't want to insinuate that any more access of buildings or people or anything were going over this roadway than today because of this purchase. So that's what I was trying to explain, is that there's no proposed change to the Rockefeller property as part of this amended subdivision plan.
Not yet, but there will be.
Can't access that back property from Centennial Way. Because it's already maxed out in terms of the number of
Right.
residents it serves.
That's what this is all.
Sophia has her hand up.
So,
So, yeah, that's.
so
Try to pay attention.
Sophia, you have your hand up?
Hi, I'm Heather Rice. But
Sorry.
Sydney. I'm on my granddaughter's computer, so that's why it's she helped me get on this. So it's under, that is my granddaughter, Sophia Leone, but I am Heather Rice. I own 035001 right beside Sydney. And I'm wondering if they cannot come off of Centennial Lane, they will have to build another road beside Centennial Lane to get to that property through his property. I'm just concerned because the back of my property just became a subdivision and it wasn't understood that that was going to happen, that 2 houses could go in back there. So I'm wondering if they can't come off to Centennial, they will build another road beside, parallel to Centennial to get into that property?
If
Garage.
Because why would they
Yeah,
buy it if they're not going to develop it?
If this, so I guess the simple answer here is that if this property were to ever be developed, that is, from what I've seen in the deeds, then an alternate access road or way would have to be established to be able to develop, this property or any property adjacent to it. Right, because these private roads don't offer any developmental access as far as
Wetlands Way.
I understand.
So Wetlands Way can't be come off of either, even if it's been a new subdivision.
I know more about Centennial Lane, honestly. I'm not sure of the provisions of Wetland Way, if that's like maxed out or not. Because I just know the Centennial Lane has that provision because it is directly adjacent to Mr. Donaldson's lot. And I happened to look at that during this process.
Is there access into Sydney's lot now? Is there a road?
Yes, she currently has improved access from Centennial Lane into her.
So is she, there's one.
Could we?
Hold on a
could
sec.
Recognize.
So, yeah, so hold on a second. To Mr. Thompson, you've had your hand up for a while too, and just let's go to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I live at 6 Bluebell Lane. My wife and I were neighbors to Heather, who just spoke, and we would strongly support, maintaining the status quo. Centennial was designed for the 4 homes that are currently on it, and it would be impact our standard of living, our value to have more traffic on that road. So we would be firmly against any alteration that would allow access via Centennial.
Okay, thank you. Lily, you had a, all right, sir.
Yeah, Eric Seltzer again, Jordan Pond Road. Earlier, there was a reference made to Donaldson's accessing this property to hike or to mountain bike or whatever, and that was it. But the reality here is we're talking about developing houses here, okay? So, well, I know we're not, but that's the cutting through it. Maybe that's the elephant in the room here, okay? So, if he was just going to hike in there and walk around, great, knock yourself out. If he's going to go ride a bike in there, knock yourself out, right? But what we're talking about is another road or somehow cutting through Bluebell, I'll call it, okay, or wetlands to access what is going to be a development of 4 houses. And as you guys consider this, and I realize I'm jumping the gun and it's not, procedurally correct here, okay, is that the people who live on Jordan Pond Road have been dealing with construction vehicles for major projects for years, okay? And you can ask any of the people who are on here, heavy trucks are going up and down. Now we got the bikes going up and down, okay? And as you guys sit there and think about what's really going on here, I hope you will think about the fact that at some point, there's going to be a real problem there with bike riders and dump trucks speeding up and down that street. And this is contributing to that problem down the road. And I get I'm jumping the gun, I get I'm out of procedure and all the rest of it, but that's the reality here. If he wants to hike there, knock yourself out, buy the property, great. I'm done.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Wendy Seltzer, I hate to admit, but him. Let me just.
Maybe not after.
No, I would like to just summarize, and it might be so obvious. We are to believe that the buyers of this piece are buying it and with no guarantee that they can do any plan at all after that's purchased. They're going to purchase it and then take their chances as to whether it can be developed.
No, that's not what it said.
Excuse me,
Just
excuse me.
gotta
That's my
be
question.
careful.
If you're saying nothing
Yeah,
else
so-
for this board today, then we're just to believe that that's the only thing getting decided today. And he's on, the next step is a complete crapshoot for them as to whether anything more can happen.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna develop this lot and there's going to be multiple structures on it, they gotta come back to us. I mean, that's not a slam dunk. And we can't speculate on the potentiality of development. I mean, we've got to have it before us. So, and it will have to be before us. So, and when we've got a very tenured board here and we've been through the drill. Our ears and eyes are open and we're going to drill through the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and make sure that it adheres to that. So, I mean, there's a whole nother level to quantify something like that. And right now, we're talking about, again, just the portioning of these lot lines, and whatever that could potentially lead to, we'll get there. I mean, ma'am.
Leslie Watson, Steel Harbor, Wellwood Way. One article I read, notification in the newspaper said that he had a purchase and sale agreement on this, but pending the outcome of this decision, whether he'd go through with it or not.
All right, well, that's fine, that's.
So if the board agreed to reconfigure this, then he would proceed to step 2. If the board says no, then he's not gonna buy it, according to what the article, what I read in the paper.
I think one
Gail.
thing that people need to understand is that the board is not in a position to make value judgments. The board is in a position to have to enforce, to the best of our ability, the ordinances as they have previously been written and voted on and approved by the voters of the town of Mount Desert. Our personal opinions can't and shouldn't come into play. Our suspicions, if whatever they may be, about what may or may not be behind this cannot come into play. And it's sort of like, we don't make the rules. I mean, we have to do the best we can. We will never be unmindful of the implications of our rules. But we have to play it as straight as we possibly can.
I just want to check, is there anybody else online with any? Ma'am,
Hi.
Heather.
I don't feel like my question was answered. To get into that property, if he chose, he wants to drive through the property, he would have to put another road parallel to Centennial beside it. Is that correct?
Mr. Witten,
That is one possibility of providing a new or alternative access to that property. Correct. To that back piece.
And what's the benefit of this to the town?
I don't know
Right.
If
I
it
mean,
does get developed?
There's
in the board.
there's no question. I don't know how to answer that. It's not a
If he does,
it's not relative to this
Right.
application.
I just wanted to know if behind me, they had to put a big road in because of the subdivision. So if this road does go in, would it have to meet specifications of the town? Would it have
course.
to be big? Would it have to be wide? Would it be plowed?
I mean, so that, all of that would be, again, have to be quantified on the next level of application. It's, again, we gotta be careful of not getting into the weeds here of speculating on potential development. If there is a proposed development, it's gotta be detailed and it's gotta conform to the ordinances, the relative ordinances of the town. I mean, it's.
Right, and like it or
Oh.
not, if any one of us bought a piece of property and prior to buying the piece of property had looked carefully at our existing laws and our existing ordinances, and in our heads, we had figured out how we thought we could do something up to and including development of that property, it would be within the right of any one of us to do that. And I don't make those rules. We make those rules at now meeting.
So
Who is deciding this tonight? Just the 4 of you?
the 5 of us, the 5, so the planning board.
And what do you base your yes and no on?
Well, are they, no, so they're here. Are they extending the boundaries of the subdivision and reapportioning the lot lines of the pre-existing amended subdivision? It appears they are. And essentially where they're seeking approval to do that, and relative to the subdivision ordinance section 5.13.2, which we're looking at, that's all we're looking at tonight, is the proposed reproportioning of the lot lines according to that section.
I don't quite understand.
I mean, and so, it's a very limited review that we're looking at tonight. And I'm sorry I keep repeating myself about that. I mean, we're talking about lot lines tonight. And Mr. Thompson, you have your hand up again?
Yes, sir. So am I to understand reapportionment means that the existing Centennial 4-lot subdivision is being expanded to a 5th lot?
No.
So what exactly is what are you being asked to approve if you put it into plainer language? What are you being asked to do here tonight?
We are being asked to approve the amendment of the current subdivision to allow the sale of however many acres of what is currently Sidney Roberts Rockefeller's land in that subdivision to the Donaldson Littles, and in the process, attach the Donaldson Little property to that existing subdivision.
And so this would be, initially, this would be one large lot. You're not actually creating an additional buildable lot. You're just making Donaldson's lot much larger.
Or we're making the subdivision lot larger by adding the Donaldsons. I think that's because we're being asked to enlarge the subdivision.
I see. And there's statutory authority to do that. I know you've talked about discretion. Do you have the discretion to do this, or is it just a matter of statutory authority and he applied for it and he gets it?
Well, that's all part of the review process. I mean, again, nothing's a slam dunk. We're taking all the, we're making sure that it's from a sidewalk take on it to its compliance with the subdivision ordinance, that what we're reviewing here is compliant. And, it's essentially a subtraction and an addition to an existing subdivision at this point.
And I get the addition. What's the subtraction?
This whole thing, right,
Yeah.
was the previous law.
Along with that, along with Sydney's.
Along with Sydney.
Yes, and Sydney's proposing to separate out her parcel.
That's the subtraction.
Yes,
And this is the addition.
well, but this is gonna remain in the subdivision.
But if they combine it with the Donaldson lot, that's the addition, the additional acreage of it.
Right.
Sydney's property in the subdivision.
Yes. Yeah.
Technically in the subdivision, so there would be no addition square footage to the subdivision, it just moves to
A different
There would
lot,
be an
a
addition.
different lot.
as adjoined to the existing lot.
Mhm.
Kim, are you aware if, in addition to these maps, are there any other documents that created the subdivision that you know of that would be relevant to?
Any have copies of the bicentennial subdivision through the years.
Right, the maps.
Yeah, they have.
There were no other,
Restrictions about
Yeah.
transferring.
there were no
lots,
other,
or-
Is there a declaration or anything?
So a question for Mr. Bates.
Do you wanna? Meredith, you've got your hand up too.
Yeah, I just to clarify, the question at the beginning of the meeting was why they were merging the two lots. And am I incorrect in thinking that they couldn't break this new property off from Sydney's property without merging it because you have to have access to a lot? I mean, if they didn't merge the two, you'd have a lot with absolutely no access to a road. So that, I don't believe that's allowed. This whole thing is, you're adding the Donaldson Little property, merging those two together so that you're creating a lot that has access to a road.
Any comments on that, Kim?
They leave it as a separate lot. They're creating a new lot within the subdivision. It still needs you guys' review and approval. But if they create a new lot, then they're gonna have to have a road that meets the subdivision ordinance requirements, unless you guys grant waivers when if or when they submit an application for development. So instead of a 25-foot wide right of way, they would need 50. And then they would need, it's a dead end street unless they connect them. You would have to have a 65-foot radius cul-de-sac on the end.
Fire trucks.
But isn't it just, would they, just besides all the subdivision stuff, could they create a lot that had no access to it from a road?
They could, but they wouldn't be able to develop it.
Oh, you can make a lot that's locked in?
Conforming lot, because you will never get permits to develop it.
Okay.
Seltzer, I'll try to be more civil. So Donaldson could take down his house, right? The road running through there
Be a driveway, not a road,
would be a driveway, but that,
because it's only serving the one lot.
so he could not take his house down to build access to that lot that we're talking about. That's a-
Driveway. You could tear his house down if you
Would it
wanted
be-
to, put a driveway.
Four houses. However.
Just put a road in.
fine.
It's a driveway.
So how many houses?
Two or less lots is the driveway,
Right.
not buildings, lots.
Right, but if he came before us to subdivide that lot.
If you divided and created lots, yes, you're going into road standards.
Yes.
End up over there.
Background.
Up,
In the back.
ma'am.
Mary Matchak, Jordan Pond Road. So the access road would have to start from Jordan Pond Road, run parallel to Centennial Lane. But it would be a driveway, not a road,
It'd be a driveway.
and it would just be one lot if this was merged.
Right.
It's just
One
one
lot.
diagonal lot, but that one driveway could serve the 5 or 6 other buildings.
A driveway is being served for 2 or less lots, not by buildings.
2 or less.
Lots of the
Lots.
driveway.
So
So you could have,
So that one driveway could serve the potential subdivision that we're not talking about tonight. That one driveway would give everybody access in that subdivision. So in fact, that's why, as was mentioned earlier, the concern over this decision, because this isn't just a pro forma decision, this decision that's not considering the subdivision is actually fairly crucial to the potential of a future subdivision.
Get more information about that.
Well, I think Meredith brought up a good point, is the screen shared plan we're looking at isn't necessarily telling the broader picture.
Mhm.
You know, and I think having a plan showing the Donaldson lot going back to Jordan Pond Road is a document we should probably add.
Absolutely. We can get that to you before the next meeting.
So we're an hour and 5 minutes into this. Let's correct, an hour. We started at 6:05.
I just
Um,
wanted to say, is there anybody for this? Other than the Dawsons?
We,
Not relevant.
yeah,
It's
that's,
it's not relevant.
yeah.
It's-
yeah, we're not, that's not relevant. Yeah, we're looking at,
In a subdivision, that's all you're looking at tonight.
yeah. So let's try to
Bring it
Get-
back to the board.
bring it back to the board. Let's get some direction here. I'm gonna make a final call on public comment on this. Ma'am,
Watson Seal Hammer. So again, I heard the words reproportioning for development. I think that's the crucial impact here. And like the paper said, I wish I had a copy of it. I wish I brought it. If this is denied, he is not gonna buy the Rockefeller property. That's what it said. Because he can't develop it. Isn't got anything to do with walking on it. I'm sure he walks on it all the time. I don't think it's the problem. And you can't ride a bike on it, you know that.
okay. We're gonna last round of public comment here,
Mr. Mayor.
yeah, Mr. Ware, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you for the session tonight. I think my question I'm a resident on Jordan Pond Road. In fact, right across the street from the Donaldsons. My question relates to expanding the Centennial subdivision versus not. I understood in the conversation tonight that the proposal is to basically absorb the current Donaldson property into the subdivision, as opposed to having a separate lot or keeping the subdivision separate from his current lot. And my question is, you have shown on the map that's on the screen now a right of way that basically divides his property from the subdivision. How is it that you can absorb the subdivision in, or the Donaldson lot into the subdivision through that right of way?
That,
Mr. I'm gonna
yeah,
let you,
that right of way is for foot traffic. And as long as foot traffic is allowed to, my understanding of it anyway, is as long as foot traffic is allowed to pass along this stretch of land, however that may be, then there's no provision that would stop him from owning both sides of that and combining those properties. It's over the land. It's not, through. It's a layer above the actual ownership of the land. It's just an access right.
So do Nate and Vanessa currently own the land that right of way is on?
Yes.
Okay, so basically the boundary of that property is their boundary abuts the subdivision now.
Correct.
And is there a difference in terms of what can be done? This is maybe a question for the planning board. Is there a difference as to what can be done on a separate lot that abuts the subdivision versus what can be done on the subdivision? Because that's the alternative, right? They want to include their property into the subdivision, it sounds. Does that provide different rights and privileges versus two separate lots? Thank you.
Kim, that's just relative to the provisions of the subdivision, really, isn't it?
I mean, unless the bicentennial has some,
Development covenant
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that, or
It may be that there, is some limitation on that, and I think we should probably get clarification. Because a lot of these, will limit development to one house per lot.
Yeah.
That's the.
So what I'm, so I'm,
Are there any covenants or restrictions on the bicentennial subdivision?
yeah, did you hear that, Mr. Witten? there-
Yeah, we have not come across any bylaws or covenants or any restrictions associated with bicentennial subdivision. In our surveyors have not come across that in their research.
Go ahead, Seal Harbor, over Dunbar. We get copies of those documents for the board and for the public? And shouldn't we look at those before a decision is made? By the board?
Of what documents?
Of the documents you just referred to that you didn't find any covenants in.
I guess I can't provide documents that we don't have. I was trying to say that we have not come across any covenants in our survey research, looking at the registry of deeds and through our files.
Shouldn't documents have been created when this subdivision was initially created back in what I believe was the 1970s? Shouldn't there be something somewhere?
There's a subdivision plan. The absence of bylaws would suggest to me that there were no bylaws created at that time.
Almost gonna close the public comments, but Lily, you had a comment?
With you, Seal Harbor, I was just asking the same question that, when you create a subdivision, I would be shocked if there wasn't a deed or covenants or something, because just about every other subdivision in Seal Harbor has some type of deed or covenants. So, and nobody has a copy of any of that, including the board or in the files?
Mr. Witten, there was nothing attached in the registry of deeds to the subdivision recording?
No, and my surveyors looked just a couple weeks ago again to see if they could come up with anything, and they did not. Obviously there's deeds for the lots, but we didn't find anything that was restrictive to subdividing lots, altering lot lines, limits on development, things like that. No.
Originally, the bicentennial was part of the Day Mountain subdivision, which has covenants, deeds, and restrictions on. It got taken out of there because the property could not be used for the Day Mountain subdivision, so then Mr. Rockefeller retained the property. Where my boundary is with the bicentennial and the Day Mountain subdivision are. Then he in turn sold it to Albert Allen. And there was no restrictions on it because I have a piece of land that came out of that piece of land from Albert Allen, which is where I live now at 31 Upper Dunbar. So all the restrictions of the subdivision were on the Day Mountain side, not the bicentennial side.
So glad to have a historian here. Thank you.
Right, so. Mr. Weir, do you have another question, or is just your hand up symbol not turned off?
No question. My apologies.
All right, no worries, thank you. So I'm gonna close the public comment now, and I think we need to, the public comment is closed, and let's get a consensus here from the board on where we're going with this.
Well, there's been a suggestion that we need a more completely drawn map of the relevant properties.
I would agree with that. Is that a motion?
Or do we need it in the form of a motion?
Well, that's, let's keep talking here.
What else
So,
is the,
I think it would be a good idea to have copies of the deeds, like in the chain of title for this property. That would give the board a better idea of whether there are restrictions that might carry forward to this.
Okay, so there's
Germain.
there's two things.
source deeds? I mean, I don't know that we're in a position to be asking a prospective owner to tip their hand about what they propose to do with the land once they buy it.
No,
I don't think we have that right.
we don't.
I understand the desire to know, believe me, I do. But know that we have the authority to do that.
I would want to see more foundational info from our ordinance in changing boundaries within a subdivision before I could have a definitive opinion on
It's in
this.
there.
Yeah, it's
513. Okay,
Page 16.
can we apply
of
it to what we've
subdivision
heard
ordinance.
or seen on the map?
I mean, so just. If you guys will bear with me as I just, for the record, Heidi, read through some of 513 here. This is 513 talks about plan revisions after approval, and 513.1 talks about no changes, erasures, modifications, revisions shall be made in any final plot plan after approval has been given by the board and its written endorsement has been recorded on the plan unless the plan is first resubmitted and the board approves any modifications. In the event that the final plot plan is recorded without complying with this, it'll be considered null and void, and the board shall institute proceedings to have the plot plan removed from the records. 513.2 says that and this is in the application description, applicants for the revision have to submit 8 copies. If the revision involves the creation of additional lots or units or extends the boundaries of the subdivision, a public hearing shall be required. So that's what we're doing tonight. We have a public hearing. Otherwise, the board shall determine if a public hearing is required. Well, a public hearing was required because the boundaries of the subdivision have been extended. And 513.3 talks about that the revised plan shall refer to the original plan and state the specific nature of the revision. So there's technically no checklist here for us.
Right.
In 513. We're tasked with having a public hearing about this, getting the temperature of this, and in terms of strict compliance checklists, we don't have one in 5.13.
It sounded to me like from what you read that it would be the developer of the subdivision that would come and ask for the change. I'm
Yeah.
both unsure because it's only one property owner that's coming to ask for the change, not the whole, or the developer of the subdivision. Because that's what it's about. Like,
I don't-
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
But aren't your?
No.
This is me, Gail.
Oh, sorry.
Specific requests are really 513.3, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So refer to the original plan and
Yes.
state the specific nature of the revision being proposed right now, which is simply
Which
enlargement of the
they,
extended
yes,
boundaries.
which technically they've done. However, I think it would have been clearer if we would have had a broader plan submitted, and it sounds like the applicant is willing to do that.
And we need to know fully if this, I mean, the real question is whether or not this change to the subdivision runs afoul of the terms of the subdivision.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I would wanna know.
the
Yeah.
existing subdivision. So then you get into the question of the deeds. And, you know, obviously if there's
So-
something on the plot plans, but also any, whether there's anything in those deeds that would suggest that this is not.
Well, let me gauge the board's temperature on this, like, we continue this to a date certain. And we ask that the applicant come back with a broader plan. And then the clarification of the deeds and relative to any potential covenants or restrictions.
Yes, I agree.
When's the next planning board hearing?
December 12th, maybe, second.
What's the, we have a sense on the agenda that night, or
I know about it.
I get this all tangled up.
if we continued this to that date, would they then be at the beginning of the agenda or? You know.
Yep.
You
And we
guys,
continue to a date certain, so no butters notices will be sent, no publications.
if everybody's aware of that, when we continue to a date certain, we don't resubmit butter notifications and all that. So Meredith, you got your hand up?
I'm just wondering, I kind of always had the impression that the owners of the properties within a subdivision had some, I guess, authority over the definition of the subdivision, you know, the changes. Say this wasn't a land change, but a covenant change. And somebody wanted to change the rules of the subdivision. It's not up to the play, you know, I guess, don't the participants of the subdivision have the right to say, we don't want that change to happen to our subdivision?
Well, I think that's one of the key elements of the public hearing is that if there was opposition to it or comment or input, they've got the opportunity to do that within that context.
But I guess the way I've heard it's sort of a, well, do you have any town ordinances that this doesn't jive with, and people can express their opinion, but we as a planning board have to follow the town code, as Gail's saying, so they can come and say that they don't want their subdivision to change. And I guess I think of, like, you know, you're not allowed to have chickens in your subdivision, and somebody says, I want chickens. And they come to the planning board and say, I want to change the covenant to say that we're allowed to have chickens. And everybody else in the subdivision says, we don't like that. Does the planning board say, well, there's nothing in our town ordinance that says you can't all have chickens, so you can change the ordinance or the covenant?
The board doesn't have purview over subdivision covenants.
Who does? I mean, there has to be some.
The members of the subdivision.
So I guess that's why I see it as, like, isn't the definition of the subdivision somewhat controlled by the members of the subdivision? That this isn't solely a matter of running it through whether it's okay with the town, that a change to the subdivision needs to be. Isn't that part of that we're getting approval from the subdivision, all the participants in the subdivision?
That's a good point. I hear you, Meredith, but I think that's really a civil matter.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, the covenants and bylaws and stuff that I have created and been a part of and read for the last 25 years has provisions within the covenants of how they are to be governed. And sometimes it's an association that has certain percentage of members that vote and all of that. So there's usually provisions within the covenant of how it is governed by itself, if it's however that is set up. So it can change per subdivision on how it's governed.
Let's work towards a motion here. I think we're leaning towards a continuation of this with some submittal. requirements being asked of the applicant.
I move that we continue this matter to December, a date certain, December tenth.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m.,
6:05.
6:05. And we ask the applicant to submit a full plot plan that shows all the relevant boundaries of the properties, including the Donaldson Little, existing Donaldson Little property. And ask that they provide any of the deeds, copies of any of the deeds that created this subdivision. Yeah, they're all listed on the plot plan.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? See you on the 10th.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep track.
Excuse me, we have other business to attend to. Lily,
We're
we
gonna
have other business to attend.
we're gonna keep rolling the train down the tracks here. So
Thank you.
let's keep at it. So item 4 on the agenda tonight, we have conditional use approval application. And that's conditional use approval application 15/2025. And the owner's name is Paul Quarry Granite Corp. Agent is Barbara Williams. Location is 17 Shipwright Lane, Hall Quarry, tax map 19, lot 10. Come on, guys. Lot 10/002, shoreline commercial. It's the zone. Purpose is section 3.4, boat storage, repair and service. To construct a new 120-foot by 60-foot, one-story heated building for the storage of boats. We had a site inspection at 4 o'clock. Was this one advertised and the butters notified?
Yes, it was advertised in the Mount Desert Islander on October 30th. And a letter went out to abutters dated October 29th. And there were 10 abutters notified. So yes, it's been sufficiently
All right.
published.
Any conflict of interest on the board with this one? None heard. Okay, we had a site visit at 4 o'clock, and Anne, would you care to tell us about your observations from the site visit?
We met at Shipwright Lane, number 17. We met with the manager of the property and the owner. And we were showed the 2 buildings that this new building will border. And it's similar in size and building materials to help alleviate their storage needs for storage during the winter for their boats.
And Meredith, you have your hand up, and I can probably wager what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I don't see where it's relevant because I can't vote, but my husband works there, so I can't, I have conflict of interest, yes, but I'm not a voting member, so it doesn't matter.
Does the board have any issue with that?
Nope.
Right. Anything to add on relative to Ann's observations from the site visit?
Nice rocks.
Thank you.
I'll turn it then over to the applicant if you'd like to add anything to that, describe the project.
Say a few things briefly. We've come through a stage of development, which we're very grateful for. And we find ourselves in a
Sounds like what?
position.
Oh,
Find ourselves in a position to expand. And we look for the most practical way to do that. In light of what property is there and what property we might have for future development. And this is very definitely the one most practical site. And I think what we're trying to do is increase. We have storage in various yards throughout the island. How many would you say? 5?
5 leases, 7 buildings.
Yeah. and we have built boats in those buildings. And it's just not, that's not practical, it's not, we've been doing it because we've attracted a lot of business. The crew is doing a very, I would say, exceptional job. And we've had a lot of boat closings, boat yards that are closed. We're older, there were reputable yards that closed. And the economy's been strong, and under those circumstances, boating activities were enhanced. So we were gonna go ahead now, and we get very busy, and we don't always attend to some of the bigger elements of development and the business. And at this point, we've committed to going ahead and putting up another building, and it's for storage. In other words, it'll be totally just for storage, and we don't plan to do any work in there other than maintenance and small jobs, with painting and varnishing and things of that nature. So that's why we've decided to come to you and ask for permission to add a building to our property. Do you have any-
Well, that's,
Bench.
Right. I guess I'll open it up to the public if there's any questions of any questions from the public.
Yeah,
Thank
Nobody's online with any questions about this application. I'm not seeing any. Not seeing any other members of the public here with questions, so I'll close public comment and let's get into it. I think the first thing we need to find is if the application is complete.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
I,
The checklist in that
Oh.
file?
Yeah,
I
sorry,
can't remember if I put it in there or not.
I'm not sure that it is here. So do you see a checklist? I have the application,
No, it's-
map. We don't think it's here.
this is unheated storage,
heat in there.
will be,
yes. So anybody care to make a motion to maybe use the short form
So
checklist?
moved.
second,
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
I move we approve the application.
second,
All right, then let's press the pause button on the approval, and now we go through and we review the application and discuss it. So Kim's coming back with a copy of the short form checklist. Everybody should have the application in front of them. We've got our handy dandy land use ordinance here if needed, and we're gonna just run through this. We go through section 6A, B, and C. Since you're in the shoreland zone, we'll have to do section 5.9 as well. Glad to hear you're busy.
Sometimes it's not so good.
that's boat business, it's just like a wave,
Right.
comes and goes, I know.
You're sitting on the crest, you say, oh God, don't let this go down.
Doing all too well.
There are complimentary mints on the table too. If any.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to know a bunch of people that work there, but they're probably just like me, retired.
It's funny, I've been there quite a long time.
Yes, you have.
5 years roughly. And a lot of the people we've had We've had a goodly number of local people who live here, which was the tradition in the old days. You know, you worked at a company or a job, you stayed at it for most of your life. And we've got, Jamie, how long have you been there?
18 years.
Yeah, 18 years. And we got guys, you know, older gentlemen but they don't even work a full week anymore.
Semi-retired. And we haven't got,
We're only allowed to work so much and then it really dips into our social security check.
Well, I'm not
we have a
sure.
79-year-old carpenter that still works 3 days a week.
Just a touch older than me.
Yeah.
I'm a good carpenter. I got every one of them.
So who do you know that used to work there?
Billy Parker.
He's still working there.
Yeah, he part-time.
But Steve Blackett.
Oh, he's there. Yeah, he's great, Steve Blackett. So yeah, he started as a purchasing agent. And he wanted to get his hands dirty a little bit, so now he's varnishing and delivering boats. Yeah, he's doing a little bit.
I can imagine he'd be very happy doing that.
He is.
I don't like delivering boats anymore.
Oh, you know.
No. Will Radcliffe's not there anymore?
Oh, he's still there.
Okay, yep. Back in the old Morris days.
Oh, yeah. Same with Billy.
Fern Murphy. Brian Murphy.
Well, Brian, he's at Hinckley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there with us for a while.
Yeah, for 20 years.
Yeah, he was there for a while.
Just said he just had to have a change.
And Becky's at Hinckley, so he went.
You know how he got the name Fern Murphy?
No.
Picking fiddleheads in the park. $500. He'd been Fern Murphy ever since. Mhm.
Okay.
I'm still there and they seem to be quite happy there, which pleases me a lot as the owner.
Yep.
I think I've made a lot of guys, a whole lot of families in this community have done very well through the boatyard over the years. I just regret, and I know you guys are, some of you are working on housing on the island. Be nice if they could live here and not have to drive 50 miles to get to.
Some of us were lucky and
Sorry.
bought houses years ago.
You know, I
I don't know if you
was,
guys want to follow along.
The only reason I can be here.
I bought my house for $12,000.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll give you 25 for it right now.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I got the short form checklist in front of me. We're looking at section 6A, general performance standards, and the first one is my favorite, compatibility. And here the applicant talks about it's 120 by 60-foot storage building. Looks like the other buildings there. Visual impact, buildings tucked behind two other storage buildings of similar size. Proximity to other structures, the proposed building is next to two other buildings and respects the 10-foot setback from those buildings. In density of development, the building is compliant with the use standards and density requirements of the shoreline commercial zone, so C application. Erosion and sedimentation control. That's 6A2. The applicant talks about it's located in an area that has been quarried in the past, so it sits on naturally occurring crushed stone. It's going to percolate down through the crushed stone and make its way to the ocean. There's no one downstream. They have other storage sheds and don't have. They had many other storage sheds with no problem with runoff. And then talking about that the land which the proposed building sits was quarried in the past and some of the stone has been removed. And so the applicant says NA, but I kind of feel you should say C application.
Yes.
Yeah.
Standards met.
Yeah.
For that one, can someone come up and make a little amendment to your application? Yeah.
Just move the
Page 4.
highway safety. The proposed building is well away from public roads and there's plenty of parking.
Hold on, which
Yeah.
one am I doing?
You're doing 6A2.
Two, and it's
So
gonna be.
change it from NA to applicable standards.
Put an X over that and initial it.
Okay.
Yep. And you may wanna say this one and circle it or something.
Okay, no.
Write this one and then put your initials. Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
6A4, impact on town services. Applicant says they don't believe the use and construction of this building will burden the town's facilities. They have their own water supply, septic, and trash is collected by a private company. So see application. 6A5, land suitability. Applicant says the land is suitable for a building. The slopes are stable, 3:1 grade, consist of rock and cut granite. And they have an attached land suitability map. So see application. Lighting outdoor, 6A6.
That one should also be applicable.
Yeah, I would.
Because you are gonna have outside lighting, you provided specs for that, so you, instead of NA, you should probably do applicable.
Yeah, change that one too, and I will say see application.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes, and initial. Circle that one in. Thank you.
6A7, stormwater. The applicant talks about the water will
Oh.
run off the roof.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
I get it, ready to go on then.
The applicant states that the water will run off the roof and land on the crushed stone, rocks, and cut granite that's native to the area and then percolate down through the layers of stone and follow its natural course to the ocean. There is no vegetation or soil to erode. They say applicable standard met. And checklist says see application. 6A8, vegetation. Applicant says no vegetation will be removed or added for the construction of this building, NA. 6A9, dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases. I would change this one too. The applicant says there will be no emissions of dust, fumes, vapors, odors, or gases due to the building beyond the lot lines. Applicant is changing it to applicable standard met.
You want to do this one?
And the checklist says see application. So the findings of fact are presented by the applicant and attached application.
So on this one, 7. Do the 4 pressing right here. Yeah, that one.
And the conclusion laws that the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which this standard has been met.
So moved.
Second that, Alan Kimmerly, Gail Marshall.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to section 6B. Specific performance standards for activities and land uses. This is like almost all NA, but let's go through it. 6B1 agriculture NA, and then it jumps up to 6B7 excavation or filling. And the applicant talks about that we are planning to pour a concrete slab over the occurring crushed stone surface, naturally occurring crushed stone surface. And they say applicable standard met. So see application 6B8 fences and walls. NA, there are no fences and walls. 6B16 sign regulations, there are no signs proposed. NA. 6B18, they're not proposing to build a cell phone tower. NA. 6B19, animal husbandry 2, I don't think that's chickens. NA, mobile, 6B20, mobile food vendors, NA. 6B21, rooming house, NA. And 6B22, hotels and motels, NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use would include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B except for 6B7. And that the conclusion was that section 6B is not applicable except for section 6B7 for which the standard has been met.
So moved.
Second that, Marshall Kimmerly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on, section 6C, shoreland zoning standards. So jumping ahead into application to section 6C. 6C1, agriculture and animal husbandry, NA. 6C2, archaeological sites. We have a attached archaeological report. See application. 6C5, essential services, NA. 6C6, parking areas, NA. 6C7, marine and freshwater structure standards, NA, they're not building a pier. 6C9, roads and driveways, NA, they're not building any. Plus they're more or less there. 6C11, water quality. Should we change that one to C application?
Probably applicable standard.
So,
Because they talk about runoff and it's
it's
gonna percolate down as the others do.
so one,
Page 25 of 25 here. Want to do that? Okay.
right, so the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6C except for 6C2 archaeological sites and 6C11 water quality. And the conclusion was that section 6C is not applicable except for section 6C2 and section 6C11 for which the standard has been met.
So moved.
Second that, Marshall Kimmerly.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, because we're in the shoreline zone, then we do section 5.9. So let's go through the 5.9 standards. Will maintain safe and healthful conditions. See application. 5.9.2 will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation to surface waters. See application. 5.9.3 will adequately provide for the disposal of all wastewater. NA is what the applicant says. 5.9.4 will not have an adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or wildlife habitat. See application. 5.9.5 will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland and coastal waters. See application. 5.9.6 will protect archaeological and historic resources as designated in the comp plan. See application. 5.9.7 will not adversely affect existing commercial fishing or maritime activities in the shoreland commercial district. I think you guys would actually be complimenting it. So see application. 5.9.8 will avoid problems associated with the floodplain. See application. And 5.9.9 is in conformance with the provisions of section 6A, B, and C which the standard has been met. The findings of fact are see above, and the conclusion was that all requirements of section 5.9 have been met.
So moved.
Second that, Marshall Kimberly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yep.
Is this, are we leaving this the way it is on 593?
Well, is there a bathroom in this building? No, it's a storage building. Right.
Okay, then that's
So-
fine.
All right, so any permit conditions on this?
No.
None. So let's circle back to our 8-track player and press play. On, all those in favor of approving the application?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congrats.
The end of all that bureaucracy.
Mhm.
In 6B23 solar energy systems, people have to respond to that now, but it doesn't appear to be on the short form. Thanks. Unless he's just.
Be nice to get big forms anyway.
Yeah.
You got the original.
This is the original. Mine. There's.
Right.
Finding a.
Yeah.
Sure your case is.
I can't find that too. So.
Sure.
Thank you very much, and you have yours, right?
I think I have all mine. I don't think I have any of yours. I have 2 of them.
One
Hey.
of yours. I think.
See you again, so.
Use that. And open it.
How are you?
Yeah, here, let's. Daniel.
Yeah.
All right, so where's the original?
Whatever you do.
Who has the original? You have it?
She,
He's in down over there.
yeah, that's the binder.
That's it, this is it,
Your neighbor.
Goes in there.
okay?
Any other business? I've heard.
Just a
None.
reminder of your special meeting.
It's really, yeah, teeny little stuff.
And our remand on the 18th,
Remand on the 18th.
right?
And what are you guys doing with that?
I haven't signed the affidavit.
But have you read everything?
To dismiss?
Need you to come and do your affidavit, it's gotta be notarized. I need to know when it's coming. It's for someone else.
Around tomorrow. So I'll do it.
It's like this top.
Pretty sure something's up front. Years to be able to notarize.
Years.
All right,
Hang on, we have one.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I know all of.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Yeah, you go